right, once again, what's up, everybody? It's Volleyball Jazz Podcast. Sets. Well, it's been a while. We know it's y'all miss me and Dame, as we know, but again, we've been hitting this volleyball circuit, everything from the end of the collegiate season, D1, to transfer portals, the NIL. We're gonna talk about it all for today. But you know what? I know y'all know we're probably the brightest minds in volleyball, but
Yeah,
today
and we
got
got a
another
special
guest.
guest.
We got a
Yeah,
dad,
exactly.
dad, I call him. A super volleyball dad,
Yeah,
Mr.
man.
Sam Coleman.
How y'all doing? Thanks for having me.
How you doing? Now he got his little LSU gear on, so I'm gonna let y'all think about and guess where where his daughter goes, not him, where his daughter goes, as well. But he gonna tell us all about her, so we give proper introductions. Don't leave no accolades out, because
Well,
we know them all too.
you already
But
gave it
Mr.
away because of
Sam
the
Coleman,
LSU gear.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
And
So
all you LSU Cajun fans, I know it's Mardi Gras season as well. So this will hit just in time for y'all to celebrate Mardi Gras season down in Baton Rouge. But
And he
with
kept
that,
it
Mr.
purple
Sam,
too. They kept it
right.
purple.
Hey, kept the purple, added the gold.
There it is.
yeah, he added, boy, I would love this. We're gonna love this podcast, y'all. So y'all sit back, get your popcorn, and get ready, because we're gonna bring it all together. We're gonna talk a little bit of college, a lot about college. We're gonna also talk a little bit about club as well, because those of you still in club season, wrapping it up. But Dane, Sam, let's go. How you doing, Sam? Talk to us. Introduce yourself there to the world.
All right, I'm Sam Coleman. I'm the dad for Samara Coleman. She is currently playing. She's an outside hitter, playing at the Louisiana State University. She's formerly played at Texas Christian University. Was a two-time state champion volleyball player in high school. A bronze medal winner for club volleyball. She was the AVCA All-American her senior year, and she was a two-time Max Prep All-American in volleyball as well in high school. So she is a volleyball overachiever with the help of teammates, of course. She's the ultimate team player. And I'm just glad to be here with you guys.
Glad to have you, man.
Glad, and we've had her on the show before, when she was in high school.
Yep.
So it's good to see her evolve his career. We'll get her back on, I'm sure, while she's in college as well. But I don't want to miss the opportunity. I think that I'm right about this. She was also top 5, I know, at least in the state of Texas, at least, if not in the country, right, of a volleyball player. So we're talking about a really, really great player here,
Yeah,
So don't be shy, Mr. Coleman. I know she's gonna be listening and watching.
She was number one. Her senior year, she was voted the number 1 volleyball player in the Houston area. She was number 11 in the nation coming out of her class. That's all over the country. She was in the top 5 in the state of Texas as a volleyball player coming out of high school. So very accomplished young lady.
Excellent. And she did great things, this past season at TCU
as well.
Do what? Say it again. I stepped over you.
Academically, she was a great student in high school as well. That's just as important.
Nice. Yeah, and that's. I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I want to mention that these young ladies are very talented athletes, but they also are very great students. So all that comes together. So we do keep the student part of athlete in there as well as we go through that. That's
the
good.
parents do.
Right.
The parents do.
Parents do. Yeah.
The parents do.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it at the collegiate level? You want to dive into that?
Well, he want to dive right there, but we're gonna come back to all that. We're gonna go with it. So tell us about this journey, though. So Samara is now at LSU. So I'm sure those who follow volleyball very well want to know, how did she get
how did that
LSU?
come about? What brought the change?
So, as a lot of people know, Samara had originally, when she came out of high school, she was heavily recruited by a lot of schools. And her top 2 schools coming out of high school was LSU and Pitt. And she committed to Pitt. LSU was her daddy's favorite, just because over the years, I followed Tanya as a coach at LSU.
Yep.
She's an outstanding human being. The way she treats athletes and the way she treats her staff. I've never heard anybody mention anything negative about her in the volleyball world. And
Right.
I was quietly over the years stalking her as a parent because, you don't just put it plainly. You have a lot of young Black women that are playing volleyball, but there's not a lot of coaches that look like them. And so that stood out to me as a dad, that not only would my daughter be going to, she had the potential to go to a school that to play volleyball, but she also gets to be mentored by somebody who looks like her. And that was important. Not that the other schools weren't it. And Samara had a good relationship with the coaches at Pitt. So she originally chose Pitt. And she got out there and saw the cold and so far away from home. She said, I'm going to decommit. And, and we were on the clock then.
Right,
now,
right.
She graduated early. And I said, we're on the clock. You got to get to school.
Right.
So lo and behold, TCU selected her or, asked her to come to school there. And she accepted to go there, and it seemed like it was a great fit for her. And then things didn't. I'm sure you're going to have some follow-up questions, but things didn't go as she thought. And I can get into the whole private school dynamic, TCU versus a state school, what you're up against, being a player. And what kind of things that you can expect from a young athlete and a parent, actually.
Right.
And so when the season ended, she had she felt a little tension on the team. Okay. And not just the tension it wasn't tension from the players, because the players were awesome. Players were great. It was just tension from the coaches. She even mentioned once that the head coach's wife, was treating her, kind of standoffish. So she felt like she didn't belong. So that being the case, I don't know if you guys follow a lot of the players that a lot of the young ladies drop out of volleyball and college sports because of mental health issues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a session on that. Yeah.
It's whether people realize it or not, these kids are vulnerable. And these coaches, they absolutely know that, because these coaches have mastered the psychology of coaching kids and getting them to adapt to what they want to. They play games, and it's a lot of them. Me being a former military person, I equate it to going to boot camp, and they tear you down, but they build you up. But the military, they're going to war, okay?
Yeah.
And the coaches kind of try to correlate that into, hey, we're going to battle with each other on the court. We have to build you up, tear you down, build you up the way we need to, and things of that nature. But some things get lost in the whole process. So at the end of the year, Samara decided that she said, hey, Dad, I really don't think that, I don't think they want me here. It was her statement to me. And she said, they've been showing me that they don't want me here, and everybody on TV can see it. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of a wake-up call for me. So we said, hey, we'll see what's out there for you. And lo and behold, LSU came calling, and it was it seems like she loves it there now.
Yeah, well, that's good and stuff. And I want to back you up just a little bit, and because I want to talk about, I know she transitioned from Pitt to TCU. And we all, Dame and I watch volleyball. We watched all these young ladies, especially those now we know because we've seen them in high school and club level. And the joy we have is just seeing all these young ladies who we now see in club be in college, including, of course, Dame's son, right? Dame's daughter, I'm sorry, Zoe, right now. So, but she came out balling at TSU. I mean, TCU, I'm sorry, but shout out to TSU. But TCU, she came out balling, right?
I think probably had the biggest game against A&M when they beat them.
Yeah. So tell me just before you go back into the movement, how was that coming into this new environment and seeing your daughter ball out, and then what changed or what was happening during that process? Because let me say, to me, when I saw she was balling.
Well, to get the full scope of things, you have to look back into the spring when she arrived. And she arrived there 17, okay? Yeah. Graduating early, you're 17 years old, you're really still supposed to be in high school. Mm-hmm. So the spring game, she balled out of control. She balled out, and I saw some things there that were in play, but I couldn't say anything because, my daughter's a freshman, she's new, and I saw that the coaches there were really trying to get everybody involved, but I also saw some players there that had been there a while, and just to me, to be college volleyball players, you're grown women, and the 17-year-old is coming in there and just outworking you, but plain and simple. So I thought that would be, from what I saw, would carry over into the season. The season hits, Samara continues to, hit her stride. And what I believe happened was she wasn't chosen to be the face of TCU volleyball. And I say that because in the spring, when she got there as a 17-year-old player in the spring games, she outperformed the other outside hitters that on her team, just flat out. That's just the way it was. Now, one of the outside hitters was injured, so she wasn't there, and that's Becca Kelly. Shout out to Becca. She's an outstanding human being. She comes from a great family, and she can ball. She's from the Dallas Fort Worth area. She grew up there. She played club there, and she's just an excellent volleyball player. But she wasn't playing, but she was Samara's roommate, giving her advice on how to handle herself in college and sorts. So the season comes along, and she's not a starter. She wasn't starting in the season. And the coach had picked out the outside hitter that he wanted to start. And that was Evan Hendricks. Evan's an outstanding player, great baller. She made the summer. She didn't work out with the team in the summer until she had to be there. Samara was there working out, the whole time. She didn't leave but for maybe a week or two break in the summer, but she was there the whole time. So the dynamics there, to me, looked like when the season started that I don't think this coach really wanted to play her as a freshman, but because of her accolades in high school, he had no choice but to get her in sporadically. So she was called in to serve or things like that. Jalen Gibson goes down, and he has to make some changes. Samara was next person up, and she balled out. She hit her stride at the Texas game. Yeah. And I don't know what was going on during as far as the team dynamics, but that game and subsequent games afterwards, Samara's touches on the ball started to decrease. And I can go more into that because we got receipts on all that. So Um, I'm just gonna tell it like it is. But yeah, she was balling out of control, and then as we got later in the season, her touches were less and less, and then her and about 3 other girls got sick. There was a virus that was going around. They got sick, as you do with a team sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like the coaches use that excuse to
put it out the rotation.
Pull her from the rotation altogether.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that was a punk move on the coach's job. I'm just going to say it. He was a punk for doing that. Because
do you think that he promised the other girl something? And
well, let me get into promises, and we'll get into that. So we met with the coach at dinner. It was Samara, my mother-in-law, the assistant head coach, my agent, her NIL agent, and my wife, of course. We were all there for dinner. He asked Samara what are her goals, and Samara said, "I want to be the Big 12 Freshman of the Year." Plain and simple. Mm-hmm. This man said with his whole chest, "I'm gonna help. Well, we can help you do that. Mm-hmm. We're going to help you do that." Now, fast forward, the spring game comes up, and she's balling out of control, and she's playing better in the spring, having never been in college, than Evan Hendricks. Okay? Mm-hmm. Evan goes home. Evan comes back. Same Evan, but she's getting more touches on the ball. She's getting more things on, more opportunity, if you would. Mm-hmm. To me, that equates to, because she didn't outperform Samara. Mm-hmm. I think there was a contractual agreement or an agreement, because you talk about NIL. What's written in the NIL contracts matter, and I don't care what any coach tells you. They're lying to your face if they tell you that no, I don't promise a kid that they can play, or they'll get this many touches, or they'll get this many. That's bull, because I know for a fact several other players around the NCAA who are promised, based on their NIL contract, that they're going to get a certain percentage of the attempts when it comes to volleyball. It's just a fact.
That's why some are playing so one-dimensional and ineffective, because they don't play very balanced.
Correct. There's not a balanced attack.
Right.
So I believe that there was some promises made to a kid that had already been in the program. I don't know it for a fact, but I'm just saying this is my thoughts. And Samara doesn't know it for a fact. She hasn't indicated such, but I'm just going to throw it out there, because I believe parents have to understand what their daughter's going to face. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I think there was some promises made. And honestly, when the season started, you had, with your outside hitters, we had Becca Kelly. We had another young lady that transferred in from Ohio who was pretty good. We had Evan Hendricks. We had Samara Coleman. And Samara's a 6 rotation player normally anyway. Right, she gives you a better opportunity on defense being in there. And she was not one of those players that he chose down the line. So I just think some coaches can coach talent. Some coaches can't. Everybody couldn't be Michael Jordan's coach. You understand what I'm saying? So if you got a kid that's got talent, and you got another kid that's got talent, and you got all of these talent, a lot of coaches can't coach that much talent. That's why I always give props to Samara's high school coach, Coach Morgan Rogers, because she had Jayla August, Samara Coleman on her team, Hallie Thompson. She had Callie Reese. She had people who, in their own right, garnered a lot of attention. But what she did is she knew how to coach those kids and get them all to play synchronized and have a balanced attack. And you could have had, at one point, Samara's senior year, her junior and senior year, her and Hallie were both All-Americans, Max Prep All-Americans. That coach coached that. Now, hats off to Hallie. Hallie's a great player, but which that coach did was took advantage of that, because you can't stop both of them in a game. Right. You look at our club season that we had when Samara's 17's club season, that you couldn't stop that team. You had Jayla Gus, you had Samara, you had the young lady from Reese, Vanderbilt now, and the ball out. You guys interviewed her. You know they could. They were just ballers.
They could go. They could go.
And but that coach knew how to coach those teams, that type of team with that much talent. Every NCAA coach can't do that. And I'm sorry, it's just real talk, And maybe that was the case where, say, hey, we're not going to go with a balanced attack, But he was suspect, because when Samara's out of the game, when she rotates out, all of a sudden you can go to a balanced attack. Come on, dude.
When they got
we got your perspective on that. We understand.
Because you guys, they had some big wins. And like I had mentioned, when she played huge against Texas A&M and stuff like that, and then you guys got in the conference, and it was a little up and down. The conference is always going to be that way. You're going to get everyone's best. But I do agree that in watching, it wasn't very balanced, considering the talent that you have. You guys didn't use the middles at all, whatsoever. And that any team, the better teams always use their middles. A&M won the national championship. They used their middles.
Nebraska and that sets up everybody else.
Yeah, Nebraska uses their middles. It's interesting, and you're right. You mentioned a lot of different perspectives, and obviously everyone's going to think about the kids. But what did you feel about the coaching staff at TCU that made you guys, that made her feel that, hey, I don't think they want me here? Like what was it? I guess probably during the season, but was there a specific incident, or just maybe how they were engaging with her later on, like when she got out of the lineup?
It was, I don't know what was going on with the coaching staff, but it looks like they weren't all in agreement with how their offense was being run, and he changed up the offensive lineup so much that the kids didn't know who was starting until the day of the game. That's a problem. All right, in any situation. So I think he lost interest with Samara. He showed it from my perspective during the games. The head coach at TCU volleyball, he is not a very engaging person. He doesn't have a very engaging personality when it comes to the public. So I don't know what he's like in practice. I don't know what he's like when it's just the team dynamics. But if you run into a parent like me, I'm going to intimidate you. And so I had to really tone it down a little bit, because what I really wanted to say, they didn't want to hear, and it probably would have made things worse. So I think that they just lost interest with playing Samara, and I think it was strategically their attitudes. Like I say, they play games. It's psychology. Okay, we must understand that first. So you show a kid what you think about them by the actions that you take. So if she's killing it in practice, and doing well, and you're giving her accolades, and then you have to make up stuff to keep her off the court. You have to manufacture stuff to tell her, and she's not dumb. She's there. She's in practice, but because she's a team player and she's not going to call anybody out, you get to take advantage of that, because if she does, then she's marked as an angry black girl. First of all, that dynamic's there. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. And then she's marked as, well, who do you think you are? You're a freshman. Plus the dynamics of the seniors that were there was the upperclassmen. When you go to a school like that, it's a little standoffish sometimes. There were some that gave her a warm embrace, but I think that he lost interest in Samara intentionally, and it was strategically done. It was calculated. He didn't want to play her in going down the line. You can hurt a kid's stats and use that against them by giving them trash plays. And I'll give you an example. Because I asked Samara. So here's the deal. Samara told me, I said, Samara, why did that game, why aren't they setting you more? You got a one-on-one situation. Why are they setting you? Sorry.
Yeah.
I said, you got a one-on-one situation. Why are they not setting you? And she said the setters told her that they are not allowed to set her in system. So they weren't allowed to set her in system. I said, okay, so what did you guys practice? Well, we practiced in practice. That's not how it went. So in the game, what is decided in the game is that they're going to set whoever they choose to set, right? The setters, it's not the setter's fault. Even though if I'm a setter and I'm a senior, I'm gonna set anybody to win. You're gonna sit me down. You got this whole crowd to deal with. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Right.
But in volleyball, I guess it just doesn't work that way. It's his system, so she had to work within his system. And so she started getting set less and less and less. So now if you're set less and less and less, and so now instead of her having 3 kills per set or 4 kills per set, now her average goes down to 1 kill per set, right?
She played, yep.
She's playing more sets, but you're not getting her the ball.
Right.
Okay? So that's a strategic, and all parents, listen to me on this. Study the coach. Study the coach before you commit to that school, because their coaching style will tell you a lot. Because if you notice that kids aren't getting the ball, and one player is getting the ball, getting set the ball 68 times a game, 68 times a game, on average, 68 times a game, one player. That's not a balanced attack. And for the life of me, I can't understand why all of a sudden you pull your freshman out, because she's a freshman, you pull her out and you give her some BS excuse why she's not there, because she didn't pick up a trash set or a trash ball, that it was a bad ball anyway. She didn't pick up something bad from a setter, so therefore you put her on the bench and scold her, and she's got to put on a happy face and smile and jump around and do all the BS that they have the volleyball players doing on the side to show that their happiness for the game and give ESPN a good look. You got her doing that, and quite frankly, the coaches aren't held accountable. That's just my opinion.
No,
What you think about that, Dave?
You saying out loud what a lot of people think, man, and yeah, I mean, I mean, it's. You mentioned something earlier about the mental games, the mental gymnastics. It exists, and you never know. And I don't want to circle back this far, but I thought about what you said when she got to Pitt and it being cold and realizing it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, man, these visits, or especially when kids commit prior to the visit, it's not really conducive. You don't really get the full picture. The coaches, when you talk to them, they're gonna. I don't think anyone's not going to say what you want to not want to hear when you go on that initial visit and stuff like that. And so you got to ask the tough questions, and even still, when you ask that, but like you said, you touched on it, and sometimes you have to go through things to learn it. But you watch them, you watch the particular teams, and you realize, okay, okay, my kid plays middle, so I'm like, well, they don't use their middle, they don't use their middle, so that's not going to be an option. It makes no sense. Um, if that's something you want to do, if you know you have a kid that's active or they want to participate or they want to play in a balanced system, then you don't pick a place that's not balanced. But a lot of times, kids, it's the glamour things that they're looking at initially, or rushing. These coaches sometimes put pressure on kids to make a decision sooner, rather than what the parents may want, because they think they may lose this opportunity. And now, from my experience, it's not a loss. If I think sometimes when that door closes, it's for a reason, and it's to propel you where you actually should be in the first place. And that's, I think, these coaches. I think volleyball is very niche, like you mentioned. You know, I don't know what kid is happy losing, but they got to act like it. You know what I mean? Like, or when they pulled out and they didn't do something wrong, but they got to act like it. It's like it's frowned upon if they show any type of emotion other than they're happy to be there. And
Right,
so
right.
But
you have to.
you gotta understand the other side of volleyball too. So let's look at this dynamic here. Okay, Title IX sports,
Mhm.
and I'm just going to hit on this because it's enough. It has to be said. Title IX sports are run by men.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
men who have connections to the purse string. Okay, now let's just call it what it is. TCU is a private school.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great school, great place. But when you have team members whose parents are millionaires, billionaires, judges, top marketing executives at different firms. Hey, I'm just a small business owner in the greater Houston area. I mean, how can I compete with that? And would I? I mean, if somebody's kid's not playing and she's a
Yeah.
senior and we got to get her in more because her senior year is coming up, maybe the coach felt pressure because, hey, I got to forego winning to play this kid that's not as good as Samara, but I got to play him because the athletic director or the general manager says, hey, look here, you got to find a way to get this kid on the court, okay? And so those things matter. Then you throw NIL into it.
Mhm.
You know, there's a term, there's a phrase that I use. It's like whoever is in volleyball, whoever is getting the ball the most is making the most. Let's just get real. And it's not just everybody said, well, no, it's collective bargaining and all that. No, they got other ways to pay these kids. Kids
Mhm.
don't go to Penn State and make $500,000 a year in volleyball, and they not have a way to pay this kid. Okay, so the one who's getting the most, and you can draw it down, one who's getting paid the most,
Mhm.
or one who getting the ball the most, gets paid the most. Now you look at Texas A&M. I'm going to look at them for a second because that coach, he knew what he was doing. Okay, and he had a balanced attack. Every
Yeah.
time you played Texas A&M, you didn't know who was going to get the ball. You can't scout them.
Right.
you can try to scout them, but you couldn't. So plus Jamie's personality is, why am I going to give all this money to one kid and hurt my opportunity of winning? Because these girls come here to win. They come to play and win. Plus, we're giving you a scholarship, all right, to a very good school. So, and you're going to get some stipend, and you know, you're going to have appearances, and we're going to give you something. But that's not why you come to the school. Now, there are probably some kids that are making NIL, some good NIL money,
Right.
but it didn't overshadow the winning. And that is where you have a disconnect, because when you got one player getting 68 touches a game and in a losing effort, something's wrong. Something is seriously wrong. So I think that, you know, with NIL, that's the bad side about it. But, you know, it is what it is. We have to deal with it.
Is that what you meant? I remember earlier you said there's a difference between private schools versus public schools. Is that what you were touching on? Really, is just that alumni base,
The
or
alumni base, yes. So you got a lot of, TCU is a very rich school. Okay, where it lacks in resources, it makes up for it in alumni contributions and endowments from other areas, right? So can TCU compete with an LSU as far as fan base and and market share? No, it can't. But as far as the other side of it, everybody answers to somebody. Okay. And if you want to find out where you're answering to, follow the money. Okay. And it's all about the base. If you got a parent who's a billionaire who can slide somebody $100,000, $200,000, $1 million to the school fund, or you say, hey, we're going to be playing in Japan next year, and we got to raise the money to play in Japan. I got to start catering to this parent base where I know the money is coming from. It's not saying that that's what the coaches are thinking, but that's a logical way to go, because how else are you going to get it done? You know? And so does that come into play with who's on the court? Absolutely, man. It absolutely does. Because all it takes is a parent who's tired of not seeing their daughter on the court, and they tell their husband, hey, you need to make a call to the president of the university, the chancellor, and there needs to be a conversation. My daughter's been there for 3 years, and Jason Williams hasn't put her on the court yet. Well, your daughter's not that good. Let's just call it what it is. You know, you don't want to hear that, but you're not at practice.
Yeah.
You know, you're not running the drills. You don't see what the coaches see.
right?
So a lot of this pressure that the coaches could, and I don't know. This is all speculation, but this is just my honest opinion about what it looks like from a 10,000-foot view of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, tell me this. I mean, you know, you lived through the TCU experience, but tell me this a little bit about what's your perspective on going early. I mean, you know, you've done that, both Damon and y'all both done this. So educate me on. My daughter's not going to go early. She's going to wait until her summer to go to her school. But you know, a number of kids go early. No, you know, it is what it is. But what's your perspective on that? What do you think they gain by it? But also, do you think that they lose anything, or would you advise anybody to do something different? Or if they are going, what would you say they should do or prepare for, or expect?
I would say that first of all, it starts with the support that they have, the support system they have, because college is hard anyway. But going there early and being disconnected from your friends and your family is tough. If your kid has a good support base and a support system, then I would encourage it. If the kid is a great student, I would encourage it. If the kid is a low B or or a C student, I would not encourage it. And the reason why is because academically, you're going to be thrown into the fire in the spring semester. You're expected to be, that's your scholar athlete period. That early period is the scholar athlete period. That's when you're going to school and trying to establish yourself and get used to the college life, what going to class is all about, where you have to be, making your workouts on time. All of this plays into it. So I think it benefits. It doesn't benefit the average athlete. It benefits the overachieving athlete.
Gotcha.
It benefits an athlete that has been disciplined and rooted in a system at home that would encourage, not only foster support, but also encourage them to be the best version of themselves that they can be. If everything is in line with that, then by all means, because what they gain, again, from the academic side, they get to know the college. You get to know the do's and don'ts before the season starts, really, because, kids are going to experiment. They're going to want to, well, let's find out what the town is all about. Let's go out and let's find out what the party scene's all about and all that stuff. You get to know the do's and don'ts. You get to link up with some of the volleyball players that are on the team that are going to be with you. You get to those early relationships form, and you get to really, bond with each other. And Samara did love that about TCU. She did say that the culture of the team, the players, and I can't mention enough of Becca Kelly, because she was Samara's roommate when she first got there, and she was an absolute gem of a person in helping Samara, acclimate herself to college life, because it's different than high school. It's not high school.
Right.
So if you could go early, I would encourage it. If you are disciplined and you've shown discipline both academically and athletically.
Gotcha. All right. That's good to know. I mean, that's one of the things that, I know a lot of parents debate with or feel like they don't have an option sometimes because the coach kind of wants you to come early sometimes. And, we've always thought about it from missing prom or missing, senior, year, the second half, right? And are they missing something there? But that's a good perspective. It just depends on the kid and sometimes even the program getting used to the environment. But then also, I believe too, like you said, your daughter first went to Pitt and she experienced that what you're going to have, that brutal winter. And because when you go and visit in the summer, everything's beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything's beautiful.
Remember that old saying, you go to church, you put on your Sunday best?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what you see the best of the coaches, man. You see, even the practices that you go to, they're not raising their voice and screaming and all that. That's not real life, man. That is scripted to me.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
no. But even when you tell your kids that, and the expectation, again, it's not going to be always sunshine and rainbows. It's sometimes, as you get into the minutia of it, like she had to actually experience the summer and the fall to really, really get, to get their who they are. Like you mask a little bit as long as you can until you get really in the weeds and the trenches, and then, it's like here we are. And I also wonder, how did they take it when she approached them that hey, I think I want to enter the portal.
Okay. So I think they expected Samara to leave.
Gotcha.
Because of their actions.
Right.
If I'm a coach and I got a high-powered player like Samara and Becca Kelly and Evan Hendricks and Lauren and I got all of these hitters, and then I got Jalen Gibson, and hear my philosophy out on this. Jalen Gibson, who was been there for 4 years, she got injured, out for the season. You have to leave a spot for her to come back to, right?
Right.
You got 4 other good hitters. Now she's got to come back. Okay? How are you going to play them? And they're all outstanding players. So the way they did it, that's why I say he strategically played keep away with Samara, because when he saw what she could do in that A&M game, he knew that if he kept feeding Samara the ball, it was going to be like that the rest of the season. If she was an in-system player, that's what you can expect every single game. And she showed it in practice. So now I think that the strategy in his mind was, I'm not going to keep these players. I'm not going to keep all of them because I can't play them all. And maybe in his mind, he was thinking he's doing somebody a disservice, because of the system he has. So why not play Samara like he did, play keep away with her as far as the ball, and then she would want to go in the portal and leave. So it wasn't a surprise to him.
Yeah.
He
created an environment where it was easy for her to do.
And he didn't try to keep her.
Right.
Wow. There was no argument. There was nothing there. And how do I know this? Because Samara recorded the whole event.
Mm. Yeah.
So
you would think sometimes I would think that you would want to keep the younger talent because you can develop them. But
you're thinking logical, Spurgeon.
Environment.
You're thinking logical.
But I would say, and maybe just part of this whole environment that not only to win now, but nobody wants to spend time developing kids, or
so they know they can go back in the portal. Just like a kid exits, they'll go right back in. That's the model now. It's again, and some teams will show you how tone deaf they are by how their social media. When it's kind of like, hey, this is what we do. And it is sad because on one hand, if you're used to the old school method and you're building an environment and a culture, if you're constantly, and again, you got to go there, but if that's your way of building, how much of a culture are you creating?
What type of culture? Right?
Well, what type of culture are you creating?
We know what it is. I mean, it's hey, you're doing some of the high school, which is, unless you, again, like you mentioned, unless you're super high level, they're going to go get proven kids at the mid majors or even or ever D1s and maybe play some. They're going to bring them in because they know they're already proven over the freshmen. It's just.
But when your freshman is outperforming those people that you got,
then
you got a problem. So, and here's another thing too, and this is where I'm going to tell those parents. I'm talking to the parents out there. If your child is a top 20 player in the country in their class, don't send them to a school like TCU. I'm being real. I'm gonna hurt their recruiting a little bit, and this is and I'm just going.
These are the opinions of Sam Coleman, not mine.
Yeah, these are my opinions. Okay, don't send them there because here's what they do with top level athletes. If you are a freshman and you are a top tier athlete, you're expected to get some playing time your freshman year. In your mind, in the coach's mind, they are using you to amp up their practices because what sophomore, junior, and senior wants to get beat out by a freshman?
Right.
It's called the Nick Saban approach.
Yeah.
I'm going to recruit you so I don't have to play against you.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to recruit you so I don't have to play against you. And what I'm going to do is if I get you in the room or get you on the field or on the basketball court, whatever it is, it'll encourage other people to give me their all, especially if you have a program where the athletes were lackluster or not playing to their full potential. A freshman that's a top recruit will do that. So do your research about the coaches. TCU ain't a spot for a top. It was good for her to be close to home. It was a great transition for her from Pitt to come there. But I'm just going to keep it real. In my opinion, if you're a top 20 player, there's other spots. Because it is what it is. TCU is a school. It's you guys are familiar with the private school here in Houston, the private high schools versus the public high schools.
Right.
You guys, in certain sports, the private schools are really good and they can compete. In other sports, like say volleyball, there's nothing like 6A volleyball in the state of Texas.
Right.
You know, it's among the top in the country.
Yeah.
Well, TCU is where a lot of private school kids go who would normally not be able to get into other elite programs, or they're tired of the elite programs and they figure they can come to TCU and actually play. You get where I'm coming from? So and I'm just saying it now because this is just my opinion, you know.
I understand.
So that's just
with that, you're now happy as hell you're at LSU. And shout out to my girl Tanya as well. We've always loved her. And you're right, you don't see many, especially power forward, Division I, African American female coaches. She might be the only one. Well, Alabama coach too, right? I know for sure.
Alabama, and I think there's one other coach as well. I think there's three in the power.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about the third one.
Arizona.
Yep.
Arizona.
That's right.
3 the Stubbs.
Right. Yep. So now you're at LSU. So tell us about what made that transition happen, and what are you looking forward to there? Because we're looking for the ball. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a young lady there with the last name Robinson.
Yes, she's great.
She Robinson. She ain't related to me. I don't think. I got to check the family tree because she got some genes like All-Star Robinson here. But I love the matchup, the pairing of those two. But go ahead, tell me about how you get to LSU.
So what happened? So Samara was told in her exit interview that they were giving her advice about the transfer portal because she'd never been there. And one of the coaches said, "Hey, don't be discouraged if you don't get calls right away." So, and then another coach said, "Well, give us your top 5 in case they do call." Kids, if you're in the transfer portal, don't do that. Don't do that. That's none of their business.
I'm glad you said that. Like, why would you tell them?
Don't do that. That's none of their business.
Right.
That's none of their business. And so, and here's the deal. If a coach wants to know about you, there's something called volumetrics. Every coach in the nation can look into volumetrics and see how you play. They don't need to talk to your coach. They don't need to talk to them about anything unless there's unless they're trying to get some information about you as a person and all of that stuff. But that's what a one-on-one interview is for. That's what meeting the family is all about. They don't need to call the coach and have that conversation with them and, well, why, why is she leaving and all that. That's not necessary. So the coach told her that not to be discouraged if she doesn't get any calls. So Samara's in the transfer portal. It's announced. In 4 hours, she had, I think it was 48 hours. 4 days, she had 48 offers. So thanks for the information, coach, but you were wrong. So Samara she went in the portal, and I knew that I wanted her to go to LSU. So Samara has an agent. Shout out to Protection United. Um, they've done a real
That
good job.
podcast. Let's go. Let's go on that
Yep. Hey,
podcast. Protection United.
yep. So they Jay Mickens started, Samara's agent started working with once she got in the portal, working with Tanya to set up some time to get over there. And there were some other schools as well that were interested in Samara, a lot of schools. And so I got to tell you, man, Tanya she knows the game because she didn't waste any time, and she set up a visit right away. And so we were able to go on the visit, see Baton Rouge, see the university. We spent a weekend there. They rolled out the red carpet. And I'm thinking in my mind, as a dad, I'm thinking, is this just, hype? Is this really who they are and all that?
Yeah.
They're going to really show me. So we get out there. It was wonderful. And I remember the Samara had we were scheduled to get on a plane when we got back to go to some other schools before the timeline was. So we were getting ready to travel because that's how the portal goes. It's quick and it closes. The opportunity for you to visit closes quick.
Yeah,
right.
So at that point, we were out there visiting, and I didn't want to rush her, but I'm making hints. So we got in the locker room. We went through everything. So this final day, we're in the locker room, right? And I said to Samara, well, let's go back before the locker room. She had the photo shoot. That was wonderful. Then they surprised her, and they brought another volleyball player in who had a similar major as Samara, which Samara wants to be, broadcast journalism. And then they introduced her to a producer that does this stuff. And I didn't put two and two together because we had met him earlier. And so then after we had the photo shoot, they said, we got a surprise. And they got Samara on a podcast. They recorded her on a podcast there and showed her what it would look like when she got there. And she had the opportunity to do her own podcast, being part of the communications pipeline for degrees. And I looked at my wife and I said to myself, this sealed the deal. I thought that sealed the deal. But then we go to the locker room and we go down and we see the meeting room and how LSU has a volleyball meeting room that is a smaller scale of what the football meeting room looks like. Comfortable chairs, nice area where players and coaches can sit in there and go. It's first class facility. Then we go to the locker room, and there's an empty locker there. A couple empty lockers. I said, Samara, if you were to go here, what locker would you want? She looked around. She said, this one. I said, okay, stand in front of it. I took some pictures and all this. And she's feeling it, and I could see it on her face. And so then we go out to where they play on the court, and she's standing in there. She says, I really feel like this is a place that I could be. So then we fast forward. They took us to breakfast, and we're sitting there, and she started talking with the assistant coach, and was talking to him, and she was whispering. I'm like, what are they talking about? And Samara just came out and said, well, I'm going to commit to LSU right here and there. And I was like, yes. I was like, yes. So that was
we got a couple more trips, got frequent flyer.
They could cancel. Yeah, forget that. That's where I wanted her to be all along. That was with the team I wanted her to be with from the time she committed to Pitt. But it was her choice. It's her journey. This is where the journey ended up for her. And, it's It's awesome. And then to play with Journey Robinson, oh my God. All right. And the other young ladies that are on the team, I don't know all of their names. So
Yeah,
I know
they
Journey.
have a good team.
They have a very good team. I've seen some videos, they're very, very limited, but some videos of practice that they've had so far, positional practices and stuff like that. It just looks like a spot where she can thrive.
Yeah.
And she said that she felt like she was wanted. And that spoke volumes to me because she did say she felt like she was not wanted at TCU. And so to feel like you belong somewhere and you're wanted there and you're actually going to be incorporated into the team, it means a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Especially in this climate.
And,
Yeah.
and it's hard, I think, for a lot of young ladies to just understand and make a couple of iterations. I mean, and it's part of life, right? Whether it's your major, whether it's your job, and choose to even figure out what church you want to go tell people, right? Sometimes you try a few until you figure out what's right, and that's good that you came back home, as I would say, just really where you thought you would want to be in the first place, and you let that feel. I'll let you. My daughter, when she was going her recruiting visit, was she wasn't sold on like going to HBCU. She's like, no, I'm gonna go somewhere else to be bigger. I got some other options, and she went there, and same thing. She felt like she was at home. And I think it's a lot for these young ladies, and especially these young ladies with melanin, to find places that they feel like are home, and the coach is going to take care of them, understands the things they're going through, can build them up from there. But most importantly, know when they see a star to let a star shine. And I think that's going to be great. So we're excited to see them that combination now, and I like to see how that goes. So I was when I did hear the news of where she decided to go, I was very excited about that as well.
Well, let me tell
And
you
same thing
about
with Dane's daughter as well. I tell them the same thing. At the end of the day, these young ladies got to find the right fit for them and let them shine from there. And same thing. I think she's going to do great as well. So that's good, man. That's good. Like I said, shout out to Tanya. Coach Tanya, she's also somebody big fan of ours. My daughter went to that camp as well, so we love the experience down there. Yeah,
Let me tell you about the culture though. When we checked our daughter into school, they told us where the dorms were and where they were. Do you know the whole coaching staff was out there to help us unload and move in? They didn't have these carts out there to put your stuff in and wheel them up to the dorm. No, you had Tanya carrying a box to the dorm with us.
Wow, yeah, that speaks volumes.
To me, I was like, "Are you kidding? This is the head coach. These are the assistant head coach, the head coach, the other coaches. The whole staff was there to welcome these girls."
Yeah,
that speaks volumes, man.
It does. It does, especially in this climate. I'll tell people all the time, like they like the right place will show you that they value you. Whether it's you'll see the signs, and then if you've had some experiences, you really can sift through the minutia and know what it will look like, and you're getting what you need out of them, where the relationship is mutually beneficial. I think kids making decisions at 15, 16 years old is crazy. And to think that the parents shouldn't be involved. Like when they say that, that's like they don't know what to ask. I don't care how much research you have them doing. It's just some of the things because they haven't lived long enough. Like you said, the frontal lobe hasn't developed. All they know is like the glitz, what they see on television and stuff like that. But they don't know the ins and outs, and they don't know the culture, and they don't know to ask those questions, or they're taught to ask them. But then again, these coaches send their representatives, because they want you to come, and then they get you there, and they don't.
And then the real coach comes out.
Yeah, and sometimes they may form a relationship, and some not. And then you realize you're talking to your kid and asking them, well, hey, just talk to the coach, and they don't feel comfortable because that relationship hasn't been fostered and developed.
Right.
And so,
and you want to. There's a football term, that I heard Cam Newton use, And he says, you want to go somewhere where you're appreciated and not tolerated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
huge.
And
Yeah.
that's the difference, you know.
No, I agree. And like you said, they'll show you. And these kids are far from stupid. And they like, you know what? If your kid ever comes to you and say, "Hey, I don't really think they want me here," listen to them. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't try and
Yeah.
talk them into, "Hey," because again, mental health is real. And you know, back in the day,
Mhm.
obviously when we were growing up, they was like, "I'll suck it up." We don't live in those times anymore. You know, you really
Right.
listen,
No.
because these kids do things now that you can't undo, and you know, in a whim, and they may not have really meant to, but you know that's how they were feeling in that moment, and so you definitely got to get in front of those things, because again, it's life. They need to have life beyond whatever sport they're doing, um, and enjoy the college experience. I mean, they don't get this time back, so these
Yeah.
kids need to enjoy the college experience. It shouldn't be where they dread showing up to work out and stuff like that. That's hard enough. And then if you got, you know, an unfavorable staff that's not giving them the support, and then you know, and then they don't want to let their parents down because they're like, you know, they don't want to hear like, you know, it's a lot. So always listen to your kids, you know. You know your kids, especially if you know you got a kid that's been disciplined, that's a competitor and stuff like that, and they're always good in school. You definitely listen. I mean, because these coaches are human and they're not perfect.
Yep. That's true. That is true.
Yep.
But not like these perfect dads right here. So, you know, we
Best in the
all go
world,
out.
man.
Hey,
The best in the world.
you know, it's
I know the show doesn't think I even know what I'm talking about. I'm like, see, but I tell her, I say, you see, well, I remember I told you.
well, the thing is that our kids are the best representation of us, you know.
Yeah.
That's the fruit of our hard work is our kids, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So, and these parents, to piggyback off what you said, a lot of these parents don't know that they can push back on there. You know,
Right.
look at what Deion Sanders. He gets a lot of grief, but he understood that his kid doesn't know what he knows. So
Right.
why am I gonna let my kid make 25-year-old decisions and they've never been 25?
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like having a new student that's in medical school, you know, make decisions right away that's going to be that of a person that's been a doctor for several years. You're just
Great
not going to,
analogy.
you
That
Great
is.
know.
analogy. Yeah. No, you're right. It's when they said that, you know, they want, and I will say that um the parents should still have a somewhat of, I get it, the kids are off to school, but there still should be a relationship. You know, if they're trying to hide things and stuff like that and don't want to communicate with the parents, I think that's a red flag,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Well, I think, like I will say with LSU, um, I I think they really care about the athletes and the families because it's an all-inclusive thing. When the head coach says, if you have any questions, you can always call me.
Mhm.
You can always email me, or
Yeah.
the lines of communications open. We all understand that they're coaches and they have to coach a team. Where, you
Absolutely.
know, I think the fact of there's some coaches who have very fragile egos,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't want to hear from the parents because they don't want to hear what's being observed from
Right.
the outside.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so sometimes they'll say things, and you know they'll say that they have an open door and you can call them and all of that, but they really don't want to hear what you got to say, because and
Right.
sometimes they will punish your child for you
Yeah.
even communicating with them.
Yes.
You know, if my child, yeah, you want the child to communicate, okay, well, that's great, but I would encourage, especially if you're a top 20 player, make sure you get an NIL agent, because the
Mm-hmm.
NIL agent will work with the family and the athlete and keep that coach honest as
Mm-hmm.
possible. Now, the coach will lie to that NIL agent and say something that we catch him in that's a lie, you know. And I got a story for that. But it's, you know, NIL agents are good because when they go to the school and they go to events after the parents have gone away back to their hotel room or gone back to our homes, and the NIL agent might stay, may go out to a restaurant, may see a certain setter and their parents there, may buy them all drinks. When people get drinks, they start talking.
Yeah.
Find out.
Yeah.
Oh, Samara Coleman was telling the truth. They can't set her. The coaches told her not to set her in the games. Oh, even if there's a one-on-one. So, you know, these coaches, when you look at the whole thing, and you know, I sound bitter, but
no, you sound honest. I mean, true. I mean, this is stuff that a lot of parents need to hear, and it's the reality of what happens in the system because you see so many kids moving, and it's not just because they're, you know, bad people.
No.
Close, man.
Look, these coaches, they go to these coaching seminars and they go to these meetings, and they are taught how to speak to their athletes and to get them to buy in. But let's call it like it is. You know, you're trying to manipulate the kid to do what you want them to do. But when somebody else who is on your team meeting with another person that is there, and they're telling them the exact same thing that my daughter told me, and confirming what she said, then it tells me that it's not the athlete. So what you guys saw on ESPN with Samara not getting set was purposely done by the coach.
So it could pull her out too. I mean, cause it's like, yeah, I mean, it's all different things. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why they were, you know, out in the second round.
No, I mean, we know that she can play. We've seen her play.
Yeah.
We
know.
competed against her. So that's what I mean. Like, even when you go to the next level, the politics still occur. No matter how you slice it. You know, hey man, one is passion, one is attitude. You know, hey, if you say something back, oh, they're not coachable, or if you're a player that they can't gaslight because they know it has nothing to do with numbers. But like you said, they can manipulate numbers. Okay, you give her one set, it's out of system. She don't have nothing to do with it, so that affects her average, right? Oh, it drops her hitting percentage, and it also drops the sets per
Per set.
kills per set. So you're right, and so and that's why I never get caught up. I always tell people all the time, I watch games. Don't just give me some blanket numbers, because there are so many different
you gotta
factors
watch
that
the
play
game.
into that. You gotta watch the game.
Watch the game.
There is a place for numbers. There is. But
Yeah.
you also got to watch the game and why it was like that and so forth. And again, man, you know,
You gotta believe these kids too when they leave a place. You know, before you go to a school, you should talk to the players that leave. And these kids that are leaving these places, you know, when they say that when they say how they feel, they're telling the truth.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a YouTube video that's out from a former Texas player that went to USC. And
we've had her on.
Yep. Okay, so Skylar did an interview, and she told the truth about what she felt after the fact. I think every young person should go watch that YouTube interview before they commit to any school, because what she lays out is exactly what's going to happen in college, and it's what you go through.
And we had her on we had no podcast. She said the same thing. Yeah. It's very transparent about it, which I was interested in seeing. We were both hearing that and stuff, and these they got to be careful because these coaches will manipulate, especially those that feel like they are the coach, or
They feel
have this
untouchable.
strong reputation, right? They think that they can dictate, kids and what they do as well, and come play for my program. Are you not? Are you that kind of thing? No, she looked out for what was best for her and
Right.
made her decision based on what was best for her. And that's one of the things we told her we were proud about. At
Yeah.
least I was, the fact that she did what she felt was right for her to do. And look at her now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, and we all know this is in all spaces. Every person will have their own experience, and some will have good ones, and some will have bad ones. And it at all places. I mean, you know, my kid's bad experience somewhere, and somebody else it might be the greatest time of their life and the greatest, the whole time. So,
Mhm.
I want to say that to the parents as well. But when you have in some places mass exodus, there's something there in some spaces, and there have been some spaces where you've had mass exodus of kids that would leave places, and that would raise my antennas as a parent if
Go on, say the name. Wisconsin. I'll help you.
I, and then
Hey, look, uh, and another thing that you got to look at too is um, not only with the mass exodus, but you know, what is their record for graduating these kids and kids staying for 4 years?
right,
People leaving,
yeah.
that tells you a lot as well.
Well, now you got in a space where some kids are being told to leave. They don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
where
Yeah.
it's
kids
ha-
are
Yeah.
actually,
Kids have been totally, yeah.
and there have been kids that probably didn't want to. That was their school. They were looking to graduate, and they were told, "Hey,
so here's what kids don't understand is that the NCAA now, if you're given a scholarship to school to play, and the coach doesn't want you on the team, you can tell that coach, I'm staying here on scholarship.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
You just won't
And
play anymore, but yeah, you can
you
still
won't
stay.
play, but you can
Right.
still be on scholarship pay.
Absolutely, absolutely,
So, but I
absolutely.
don't think a lot of parents understand that because, you know, why go jump in the portal
Hmm.
and not have a place to go?
No.
Yeah.
And then you get to a certain place, and then the hours don't transfer, and then so you're losing time that where
Correct.
you're at as well. So I mean, because the goal, especially in women's sports, you mentioned
Graduate.
Title IX and Olympic sports, the goal is to graduate. While
Mhm.
they do have professional in volleyball and other sports, it's not the same as in football and basketball. We know in baseball. We know that. So your goal is to get your degree in the first place. And that's the biggest thing. So you don't want to get into a space, because most people, if they're transferring after their junior year, either A, they've already graduated and they're just a junior on the court, because you're going to lose those hours. You're going to lose some. Like some schools, like Michigan, for instance, they won't take juniors at 60 hours,
Mm.
which is what hurts them in Portal. Now, you've had some other places that decide to lax up. Colorado laxed up when Dion got there on admissions and stuff like that. But you mentioned what parents don't know. If you get to a space that your kid's been in school 3 years or whatever, at that point, he's like, you know what, screw, like you said, screw volleyball. Hey, I'm staying here on scholarship and I'm finishing, I'm graduating, whatever. And if you finish in time, you can go play somewhere else if that's what you
Correct.
want to do. But you get your degree and worry about that then. Um, but yeah, I mean, you said a lot, and I appreciate you being candid, man.
Yeah,
Honestly,
we appreciate it as
um,
well. I know, although
I
I don't know if
expected
Coach
it,
at
but
TCU gonna be too
man,
happy with you, but
I mean,
Hey,
I've talked to you before. I
I can
expected
only,
it, but you got raw with it.
well, I can only um, be real about the way I see things.
yeah.
Um,
That's the best way to be, man.
I will tell,
Amen.
I will say one thing that I encourage everybody to, find someone for your child that can help
Mhm.
advocate in the form of an agent, but make sure that you are still in the mix.
Oh yeah,
Make sure you have a relationship with that agent. at the end of the day, the agent, the coach, the school did not bring that child to this world. You
Right.
did. They didn't raise your child. They don't have that relationship with your child. So as parents, as dads especially, you know how we are with our girls.
Yeah, man.
There's certain things that you just can't do and expect us to be cool with. And it's just not going to resonate well with us at the end of the day, because if my little girl tells me and she gets along with daddy and says, Daddy, this is what really going on, I'm going to be hot if it's not something that's on above board, you know? So I would encourage everybody to find an agent for your kid. There's rules in every state concerning that. You got to find out what the rules and guidelines are for your particular state. In Texas, you can get an agent as early as the UIL permits them to commit to colleges. So, and that will help. Get somebody you're comfortable with. Start building that relationship with them. But also don't remove yourself. Remember, you're still the parent. Don't remove yourself from the process. Still have that relationship with the child. Now, when they get to college, as we all know, the phone calls are going to get less frequent because they're doing their own thing. But at the end of the day, you're still dad.
Yep.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. That's true. Well, man, Mr. Coleman, we appreciate you coming on the show as well and enlightening us and helping our parents with this maze of volleyball. I'm still in club volleyball. I was telling Dame, I was telling Sam earlier, but so I got whole stories talking about club volleyball too at 18th level. It's just first of all the money that they making. That's one thing, but we'll talk about that later. Another show. But right now, man, I'll come back and hit up on club volleyball our next show too. But we really appreciate you. All the best to Samara at LSU, Coach Johnson and that whole group out there. And of course, that Robinson girl. I'm always, look out for Robinsons as well. But LSU, we're looking forward to them doing a great season. But really appreciate you coming on. All that LSU gear, we love it as well.
Right, go Tigers.
And we'll move forward. So with that, we're gonna close out the show. Dane, we about out of here, brother. You out? You ready? Or you getting a text message from Dion? So we out of here today, but tune in, hit us up on email with your questions, comments, etc. We're gonna be a part of the show. Let us know. Volleyball Dads at Volleyball Dads podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up. We're going to be on X at V-Ball Dads as well.
And Instagram.
And YouTube.
And follow us on YouTube and subscribe. Come on. Follow us up on YouTube.
That's right. So we'll be back in the hook. So with that, our show is out. We appreciate everything. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.